Hello everyone, I am the Crimson Cadaverous and this is Tank, and we're wishing you a very happy full moon in Capricorn, which peaks on June 24th at 1:38 p.m. Central Time. But we have a lot of time to work with the powerful energy of this full moon because it's a super moon. And I do believe it is the third in a series of super moons, so we've been dealing with a lot of powerful lunar energy. So this particular full moon, as I mentioned, is in Capricorn. And Capricorn is the boss of the zodiac. Capricorn is the authoritative, career-minded business person of the zodiac. They're very ambitious. They're always striving for more. They're very obsessed with their reputation and having accountability and being responsible. So they're really good at keeping themselves on task, and they're really good at being the boss of other people. So today I've put an exercise together that's going to tap into that Capricorn energy where we envision ourselves as the masters of our own destiny, the bosses of our lives, and we give ourselves a performance evaluation. So we'll get into that towards the end of the video, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the energy that we're dealing with right now. So like I said, full moon in Capricorn, super moon, so an amplified energy. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which Saturn is the planet of structure and authority as well, and limitations. But it's in retrograde right now. So it's like we're rethinking and redoing things in our life that revolve around structure and authority, which this is the perfect time to do that because this is the halfway point in the year. We just experienced the summer solstice. So we've definitely had some time to reflect upon the last 6 months out of our life, the last year out of our life, and decide where we've come over the last 6 months in this year, and come up with a plan maybe of what we'd like to do with the rest of our year. So this is definitely a great time to tap into that Capricorn energy because, like I said, Capricorn is the taskmaster. They're going to keep us, in check and make sure we're doing what we need to be doing. We also have Mercury that just went direct. So of course, Mercury is the planet of communication. It's the planet when it's in retrograde that's always screwing with our electronics. But it's also, keeps us from being able to communicate well when it's in retrograde. But now it's gone direct. So we should see some clarity with the way that we communicate to other people, but also the way that we communicate things to ourselves. So, as y'all probably know, I love to read tarot. I'm a tarot card reader. I love to pull cards for other people and do readings for them. But I love to do readings for myself, just to pull cards and kind of see where the energy is. I also love to pull specific cards, as I've done today. You'll find them here, and you're also going to find them up here if you'd like to pause the video and meditate on the imagery. I also pull them to help us understand and explain the astrological energy that we're going through. So today, the first card that I pulled is the Devil. And the Devil is actually the card that corresponds to Capricorn in tarot. So the Devil is a definitely very misunderstood character, especially in tarot, because the Devil, is often seen in our society as being just evil and being bad and being this separate, like evil entity that causes all this havoc. But with the tarot, the Devil kind of tells us that the Devil is in all of us. And of course we know that the Devil is in the details. So, this is kind of how it corresponds with Capricorn, because Capricorn is all about, like putting out the tasks and making sure everything's structured. But the Devil also has a feeling of being trapped or being stuck because of their perceived restrictions. So that's how we have that Saturn come in with the limitations and the restrictions, because Capricorn, as much as they're a taskmaster, sometimes they stay too much on task. So that's kind of how the Devil comes into that. And there's some greed and obsession with money attached to the Devil, which definitely can be a problem for Capricorn because they are the business person, they are the entrepreneur, they are always trying to strive for more. So sometimes they can get obsessed with money and having things, and that's definitely something that we want to watch out for in ourselves all the time, but definitely during this Capricorn full moon, because that's that very powerful like boss energy, entrepreneur energy. So we want to make sure that doesn't overtake us and, you know, we lose sight of the things that really matter in our life. So the next card that I pulled is the Emperor. And the Emperor is the father figure of the tarot. So again, there's the authority, there's the structure, there's control, there's stability attached to the Emperor. So the Emperor is higher than the kings. The Emperor is in charge of so much, and, you know, so he's always approaching things logically and rationally because he needs to. He has so much that he's responsible for. And a lot of people look to him for leadership and wisdom. And specifically here in the Wonderland Tarot that I use, we see the Cheshire Cat. And I think that's the perfect image for the Emperor because he always seems to know what he's doing, but he doesn't always let everybody else in on that. And maybe that's why he's the Emperor. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, that sometimes it's okay to play, you know, the cards close to your chest. Sometimes it's okay to have plans and structure in your life that you don't necessarily let everybody else in on because, you know, if you let everybody else in on it, they might mess up your plans. So definitely some good messages from the Emperor about that. So the last card that I pulled is the King of Flamingos. So the Flamingos is the suit of the air, so the mind and communication, and the king is the masculine ruler of that. So he's very objective, he's very logical and authoritative and assertive, but he can be emotionally distant. So sometimes when we get stuck in like just, you know, performing a task and being very structured about it, you know, it's almost like we put our blinders on and we end up being emotionally distant. So that's definitely something to keep an eye out for anytime, but definitely during this time when we have that really powerful supermoon Capricorn energy driving us. So as I said, I put together a exercise today for us to do revolving around the Capricorn energy. So because Capricorn is the boss, Capricorn, you know, is the taskmaster of the zodiac, and also because we're at that halfway point of the year where we're kind of checking in on ourselves anyways, I want you to envision that you're, of course, your own boss, which we are, you know, even if we have a boss or, you know, authoritative figures in our life, we are ultimately our own boss. So, you know, you're your own boss and you've been tasked with giving yourself a performance review. So before you do this, I definitely suggest doing some meditating, doing, you know, some free journaling, whatever you do to kind of get your mind opened up, because you're really going to want to think about this, because sometimes it's hard to evaluate ourselves. You know, it's almost like when somebody asks you to write your own bio, you're like, I don't know what I'm good at. So you really want to have an open mind and an open heart with this one while you're approaching this performance review that you're doing for yourself, because you're evaluating the performance in all areas of your life. And it's not necessarily to evaluate it and make you feel like you're doing something wrong or, you know, make you feel like you're failing. It's just a check-in, because, you know, nobody's going to go through all the different areas of their life and tell themselves that they're at a 10 out of 10 on everything. You know, if you do, either you're a perfect person, which I don't know anybody like that, or you're not really being truthful with yourself. So when you go through and you do this performance evaluation, you know, some things may not necessarily be 10 out of 10. Those are just areas for improvement. So it's definitely something you want to tell yourself going into this. Make sure you perform some self-care activities beforehand, you know, in addition to your meditation, to really love yourself so that you're accepting of the things that you're going to be, you know, kind of uncovering that, again, are just areas for improvement. We're always, you know, needing to improve in ourselves in our lives. So it's not necessarily something to be afraid of. It's something to approach with, you know, like I said, an open mind. So again, we're doing a performance evaluation and we're just reviewing all the different areas in our life. How we approach relationships, how we approach working, how we approach our finances, all the different areas of our life that affect us that may need some improvement. So I've come up with some questions to ask yourself, but I definitely suggest if something calls to you and you want to kind of approach this in a slightly different way, that's definitely okay too. You know, we all approach things in different ways and learn and understand things differently. So this is just kind of a framework. I've come up with some questions to ask yourself for the evaluation, but feel free to kind of change it up if something else calls to you. So what I did was I have 10 different questions that I'm going to ask myself, and I'm going to evaluate myself on a scale of 1 to 10 to say how I'm doing on that. So obviously 1 is going to be the lowest, 10 is going to be the highest. So I'm going to evaluate myself on it and kind of journal about how well I've been doing that one task. And then I'm also going to journal on some areas that I need to improve. So what can I do, you know, if I'm a 7 out of 10 on something, what could I do to improve that area of my life to get myself to a 10 out of 10? So I'm going to read off some questions that I came up with for myself. I'll also put them in the description for this video. But ultimately, you know, do the ones that call to you. You know, if there's areas of your life that I didn't really touch on that you want to evaluate yourself on, write your own questions, you know, do what calls to you, basically. So the first question I have is, how well do you perform self-care? And how is your level of self-love? So that's the first important one to approach, which I definitely think everyone should ask themselves, because we can't give anything to anyone, you know, love-wise or, you know, support until we support ourselves and love ourselves. So we definitely want to check in with ourselves and make sure that, you know, we have a good self-care routine, that we're checking in with ourselves, that we're loving ourselves. So evaluate ourselves on that. Next question, how are you as a friend, a lover, a family member, a community member? So question yourself on, you know, how you approach your relationships in your life. How well do you show up for other people? And then how well do you manage your time? So that's important, especially with Capricorn, because they're the taskmaster. How do you process your emotions? So that's really important because, you know, especially with Capricorn, Capricorn's going to kind of shut that emotional side off, but we really still need to examine that, because that can be connected to a lot of other ways, you know, that we're reacting in our lives. How well do you communicate your wants and needs? This ties into the self-care aspect of it, you know, taking care of yourself. So you want to make sure that you're communicating what you want and need to yourself and to other people that, you know, are helping you get it. How motivated are you to serve your higher purpose? So, you know, when you ask yourself this question, there might be some people that do this and they don't even know what their higher purpose is. Well, that is a huge area of improvement, you know, that you have, that you can, you know, decipher what your higher purpose even is. But if you know what your higher purpose is, are you serving it? You know, evaluate yourself on how well you're doing that. Do you follow your passions? So that kind of ties into the higher purpose. Are you following your passions when you really, really want to do something? Are you actually going for it, or are you just putting it off for another time? How well do you manage your finances and resources? So that's very important, especially with Capricorn being the business person of the zodiac. And are you being healthy? So when we think about healthy, think about mind, body, and soul. You know, like, are you physically healthy? Are you spiritually healthy? Are you emotionally healthy? Really evaluate that. And how effective are you at goal setting and achieving? And this definitely, you know, it's that Capricorn energy there, because again, the taskmaster, the authoritative figure that, you know, wants everyone to, you know, be achieving and constantly achieving. So we definitely want to tap into that and evaluate how well we are at goal setting and achieving. So those are the 10 questions that I asked myself and I evaluated myself on. And I kind of look at this as maybe like a 6-month plan. So don't be overwhelmed by this. You know, when you go through the 10 things or however many things, you know, you want to go through for yourself, it might not, you might be feeling a little daunted, but you've got some time to do this. You know, I mean, in theory, you have your entire life to do it if you want to put it off that long, but Capricorn is not going to want you to do that. But maybe think about this as a 6-month plan where we're working on all of these areas of improvement, you know, for the next 6 months until the Capricorn new moon of next year. And then maybe we can reevaluate then. It's always nice to kind of check in with Capricorn. So anyways, I really want to thank you all for listening to this video. I hope that it's helpful for you. If you have any questions about the things that I've said, please reach out to me. If you're interested in a tarot reading, definitely reach out to me. I'd love to give you a tarot reading, especially with all the crazy energy that's going on. We might need some clarification. You know, Mercury's at a retrograde now, time to clarify. And as you notice, I pulled a couple of the candles that I make. I make these meditation candles. Today I pulled the black and white candle because we're going into a full moon, so it's kind of like a time for release and rebirth. So, you know, get rid of the old, in with the new. But if you're interested in any of my meditation candles, I make a big variety of them. I'm going to put a link for my Etsy. And I'd really appreciate it if you watch this video, especially if you got to this point. If you like it, if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, if you comment on anything. And again, I can't emphasize enough, if you'd like to reach out to me because you have questions, I really hope that you do so. But I hope that you all have a wonderful full moon, super moon in Capricorn, and that you enjoy evaluating yourself and being the boss of your own life. Because remember, you are the master of your own destiny. So wishing you all a lovely day and a happy full moon. Goodbye.